just wanted to come back here on my channel and just kind of put a cap on that series on self-image. I think it's important to understand the ways in which we are able to help ourselves. Whenever we help ourselves, whenever we grow, whenever we learn, whenever we have this awareness about ourselves that it's like, yeah, I really want help for this. I'm realizing that I have an issue with, and then you can name it, I'm codependent, or I'm just angry all the time, or I'm on edge, or I'm so anxious, or I'm whatever it could be. When you recognize that, and there's a pattern of it in your life, guaranteed it's connected to an image, it's connected to a feeling, it's connected to a childhood issue or a wound. And we are a mosaic, as I said this before, of thousands of pictures, everything we've experienced, the good, the wonderful, the happy, the birthdays, the traditions, family times, as well as difficult times, struggles, health issues, or perhaps even trauma in your life, or losing someone that you love. There are all these images of ourselves that are created when we're young. Okay, I'm talking about when we are young. And the coping mechanisms that develop from these traumas or micro traumas that we experience can cover up who we really are. And so they create these issues we have later in life: the codependency, the super shyness, the anger, the low self-esteem. And when we understand that our self-esteem and our self-worth is based on our self-image, we want to do something about that, right? We want to swap out some of those images that make up who we are, and we can do that. And primarily, I mean, the first and foremost is probably a good therapist or EMDR or counseling. And I know for some people that isn't possible because of the cost. I understand that. So I think the next step, or the thing that you want to help yourself with, is, first of all, don't judge yourself. Just love yourself. Have some grace with yourself. And it takes self-reflection, and it takes actually, the reason I talk about images is because I think it's another protocol or a simpler way to address some of the issues we have in our life, some of the trauma that we've dealt with, and the pain that we have of that, and the coping mechanisms that develop out of that cover who we really are. When we have personal growth, when these aha moments and this awareness comes to us, because it's actually a gift to ourselves, when we have these awakenings, when we have these moments of conscious awareness, like, oh my gosh, I see this now. There was somebody I was listening to, this young woman, talented, beautiful woman, and she was talking about realizing that all her exes said the same thing about her, which is why they had to break up. She's lovely, but there was something intrinsic, what is the word I want? You get me. Something involved in their relationship that she had a reaction to. Finally, she said, I had this aha moment, and I realized I am the common denominator, and I have a feeling that was me causing these breakups, and I want to find out why. So we get to life, and life hits us up against the head, and we have to go, okay, I got to do something about this, right? And it's a gift to us. That's what we don't realize. It might hurt, it might feel uncertain, it might feel confusing, but it is a gift, because it's a wake-up call that we have the opportunity to get rid of that image, so to speak, to get rid of that emotional snapshot that is lingering within us, wreaking havoc on our lives in one way or another. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. So I wanted to express, though, going hand in hand with it, is whenever we grow as a person, when we develop and we become more emotionally stable and strong, and which creates a maturity within us, it also goes hand in hand with the spiritual side of us, that spiritual awareness, the spiritual development. It goes hand in hand. And some of you might not see it, or you don't care, or whatever. It doesn't matter, but that's what that is, truly. So when we are able to grab hold of these moments and finally go, I'm tired of hurting. I'm just tired of dealing with this pattern in my life. I want to fix it. Again, I want to say therapy, counseling is probably a good way to go. But if you cannot, here is another method that I've heard, a couple different scientists and researchers talk about. It does have to do with our mindset, okay? And it takes practice, it takes consistency. And it goes like this. We need to spend time daily. Could be, start out with 5 minutes in the morning, let's say. You have a meditative practice, and while you're rested, do this for 5 minutes. Think of that picture. Think of that area of your life that you have this awareness of. Now, let's say it's like you realize you're codependent, or you're just too shy, or you're an angry person and you feel like you're always on edge, or you're finding, oh my gosh, I'm becoming a workaholic and I don't like it. Because workaholism usually is associated with a child feeling like they have to be that straight A student, they have to get the best grades, they have to be number one on their sports team, otherwise their parents aren't going to love them. It's very conditional love. So we want to swap out those images of ourselves, right? We want to swap out these patterns we have within us. And if counseling or therapy is not viable for you at this time, there are good books you can read. There are books of spiritual matter that equates with our personal growth. There are books talking about just trauma. I mean, there's so many, and you can find one you relate to, like on Amazon or a bookstore. Find one that you feel in your gut you can relate to that book, and then begin reading and see how it relates to you and see how it may help you understand yourself better. Now, another way is, I know, and again, I've heard researchers talk about this. It's the old phrase of fake it till you make it kind of thing. But I don't like that phrase, because I feel like we're not truly faking. It's as if we have to step into that role of who and what we want to be or feel like, or how we want to show up in the world. We want to be more patient to our spouse and to our children. We want to be more kind, or we want to have less of a reaction and more of a response. Cool our jets, pull in that anger, because that's associated with a dark picture from the past. It's not just who you are. I can't tell you the 30 years I've been coaching and mentoring but that's just who I am. I'm like, I beg to differ. I think there are parts of you that are truly who you are in this scenario. Usually someone who's angry, and boisterous and frustrated and I hate authority kind of thing. They're the ones who come to this world. They're very passionate people. They have a lot to learn, a lot to say, and a lot to share, and they're just passionate people. But because of trauma, it crosses over into anger. That passion turns red hot, so to speak. So it's a part of who they are, but the frustrating anger and hurting yourself and hurting other people with words and emotions isn't why we are here on this planet. We're not here to be codependent. We're not here to be shy. We're not here to be workaholics or sex addicts or drug addicts or alcohol. We're not here for that. But that's the coping mechanism one might acquire because of the pain that they are in. Pain you probably can't, some people can't even associate without thinking clearly or diving deep with a therapist about these things, right? Okay, so it does take awareness. I'm not pushing you into something, a therapy or whatever, if you don't feel ready for it. Timing is everything. But it is a gift we are given by, I feel like, our own spirit, that beautiful divine light that is within us. We're all of spiritual DNA, so to speak, that I speak of. We're all spirits having a human experience. And because of that, our humanness can block out the beauty of that spiritual side of us. And like I said, as we grow, as that personal growth and development within us becomes a part of who we are, we grow spiritually as well. So that's a whole nother subject, and I do want to touch on that, about the spiritual aspect of our lives. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about that. I have a whole philosophy on that itself, which I'd like to do a video on. So anyway, I wanted to just be clear about the subject of our self-image, of who you are and the uniqueness of who you are. And you are amazing, which is why I say that. You are amazing. There's only one of you in all of world history. One of you. One. Isn't that amazing to think about? And that you're a miracle. You're a miracle on this planet. And you truly, truly matter. You really, really do. I even want to dive deep into those words, because I've been saying it for 30 years when I've ended videos that way, because I truly mean it. And I say it often so that people will begin to embrace that about themselves. Because my channel is about self-love. And what does that mean? And how can we attain that? How do we understand what that means? I talk about it a lot. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you could hear me out on this and put a cap on this series on self-image and understand that you are a beautiful mosaic that makes up the picture of you, the image of you. And if we find we need to swap out some of those images, like I said earlier, that are dark or blurry, traumatic, it can be done. It's finding the best way for you, and know that you deserve it. If that's what you want, you deserve it. Because you know what I'm going to say. You are an amazing human being, and you are a miracle on this planet, and you truly, truly matter. Thanks for listening.